manifests itself in a way that you walk into a room differently, and people want to be around successful people. People want to be around people that believe in themselves, and you can be one of those people that other people then gravitate to. Changing your mentality will make people gravitate to you that you're not even thinking of.
What's the thing you don't want to share? That's where your power is. So whatever you're hiding is taking the place of what could be power, so you might want to bring it out.
The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. And now you're causing an effect. And I think that's the difference between living as a victim in your world, saying, I am this way because of this person or that thing or this experience. They made me think and feel this way.
Sometimes your strength can be the greatest cover for what you need help with in the secret places of your life. If you don't think you have any fractures, okay, if you have something in your life that you're afraid to bring out, that's the thing that's going to kill you. So bring it out.
One of my secrets is that I will fabricate momentum.
Oh, okay. Fabricate momentum.
Yes.
Tell me.
Here's how I do.
Teach me, Will.
Yes. Too many times we're so hard on ourselves in thinking, what if I fail? What if I fail? Because we feel like, Will, I haven't done anything, right? I want to go out and climb the mountain. That's my goal. I want to climb the mountain. I can't. I haven't climbed the mountain yet. Well, first of all, that goal is too lofty, right? The first thing to do is not climb the mountain. That's not step one. Step one is buy mountain climbing shoes. That's it. Step two, go drive by the mountain. Look at it. You know, take a picture, think about it, go home. You know what you've done? You've done two things. You've completed 2 steps. You got to tell yourself that, right? I did 1, I did 2. Slow progress is still progress. I'll never forget the first movie I ever made after I graduated from college. I set a goal for myself for how much money we were trying to raise. We were going to raise $750,000.
Okay.
That was the goal. I couldn't raise it for the life of me. I didn't know anybody rich. I didn't have any money. That was the budget of the film, and I could not raise it. So what I did was, instead of a monetary goal, I set a date goal. I said, okay, whatever I'm able to raise in the next 3 months, right? By the end of June, when that comes, that's the budget of the film. Mel Robbins, by the end of June, I had raised 75,000 whopping American dollars.
Okay.
A long way away, and not enough money, especially back then, to make a movie.
Okay.
But guess what?
What?
I shot a tiny little $75,000 movie. That did 2 things. The first thing it did was it gave me something to show people that I could do. I was saying I was a filmmaker, but now I could actually show them I'm a filmmaker. The second thing, and the most important thing, was that it showed me I could do it.
People relate more to our losses than our wins. And because that's true, I had a moment of clarity where I thought, I'm faced with these options of hiding, which is a great option. And I did for a little bit, and it felt okay for a season. And then you realize, what am I going to do with all this? And for me, I felt like, I had a responsibility, because the platform I had in people's lives was one of trust and example, and in preaching to other people how they should proceed in life. And so that's a deeply vulnerable place to be when you've broken people's trust in that way. And I felt like I had a responsibility to prove, in a way, what I've been preaching all along, which is your worst chapter is not your last chapter. And I've preached it my whole life. I never had to live it in this way. But for me to not show people more of the story, to me, would have been unkind. To just leave it there, because that's not the whole story. We're alive. Our eyes are bright. Our family's better. I'm better. I've realized things I never could have realized had we not walked through that fire. And the option to hide is tempting until you realize, what if what I've gone through is exactly what somebody else is going through? And if I can help somebody else build a bridge, then why not give it a shot? And I think for me, someone once said to me, to my face, the moment you can take the hardest thing in your life and take more from it than it took from you, your life will change forever. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do.
You're not at the end. You still got more acts to go. You still got an opportunity to change and create a blockbuster life. Never too late to pivot. The power of the pivot. I'm a big believer in embracing that power. Your movie's not over. Your story is not over being told.
Well, a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your mind. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain.
And you don't have to change. Only you can make that decision because there's not enough consequences in the world. Rehabs are filled with people that you cannot understand logically. Why are you doing this? If you sat there with someone, I've spent a lot of time with drug addicts in my life, and I've sat there with people who they've lost everything. And you go, do you want to change? And they go, no, I don't want to change. So now you realize this isn't normal logic you're dealing with. There has to be something deeper. And if you are in a spot, it might not be drug addiction. It might not be something that you think is catastrophic. But if you're in a spot right now and you know it could hurt you, this could be the moment where you, after you're done watching this, you just call someone and say, I'm going to be honest. And I need it to be a safe space. And I don't want to do anything with it, but somebody needs to know. If that could save not just your life, but your family's life, your legacy, the lines down of generations, it might be worth a shot just to tell somebody, this is what I'm dealing with. Because if I look, it's not worth holding. It's not worth holding in your heart. We're not designed to do that.
Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life.
If you are struggling to forgive somebody, make the decision. I believe forgiveness is a decision. The follow through is daily. So don't get fooled by your feelings. A lot of people, I thought I forgave this person, but I still feel. That's a feeling. Like you're not going to feel. I don't think forgiveness is like fairy dust, where it's like, oh, this person who abused me for 10 years, 15 years, I forgive you. Let's have dinner. No, you might still feel at times that person is, God should smite them from the earth. Got to accept that. You know what? I have forgiven you. And there are some aftershocks and there are some after effects. That's on me. I got to work through those. And again, rather than push them off, which creates dread, face them down. Today is a day where I'm struggling to follow through with the forgiveness I've given. Say that. That's more true. It's not that I struggle to forgive. No, I have forgiven. And the follow through is challenging today. Especially if that person continually does stupid things. It's like, I got to re-up every day to forgive you. No, I think that forgiveness is a choice for sure. The follow through requires support, maintenance, therapy, prayer, meditation, soul work, because it's one thing to say it and you must. It's another thing to live it out. But again, how much is your freedom worth?
Well, the stronger the emotional reaction you have to some experience in your life, the higher the emotional quotient, the more you pay attention to the cause. And the moment the brain puts all of its attention on the cause, it takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. So long-term memories are created from very highly emotional experiences. So what happens then is that people think neurologically within the circuitry of that experience, and they feel chemically within the boundaries of those emotions. And so when you have an emotional reaction to someone or something, most people think that they can't control their emotional reaction.
If you woke up today and you genuinely are ready for the shame shower to cover you like it does every day, I want you to imagine grabbing shackles and putting them around your feet, because that's what shame is. Shame, they are shackles of our own creation, and we attach them to our legs, and you can move kind of fast, but you're never going to be able to know what it feels like to run. When it comes to shame, understand this is a hard reality that I am just submitting for you to think about. There are other people who have other definitions. I was told that shame is inherently selfish because my eyes are still on myself. When I heard that, it immediately made me a better dad. It made me a better husband, because for me to spend time in shame, it ultimately means I don't like what people think about me. I'm embarrassed about me. I can't believe what I've done. So not only have you made a mistake, not only have you hurt people, but your response to it is to think about yourself again. And if you see it from that angle, because I get shame, I understand the pain of it and the prison that it can become. And I also understand what it means to be free of shame. As I sit here with you today, I'm telling you, shame has no hold on my life, because only I can put shame shackles on my feet. And if you look at it like that today in your own life, rather than put those shame shackles on, what else might be true about you? Can you grow? Can you change? Can you get better? Can you love people more? Can you give people evidence that you're a new person? Yes. Shame is all about stuff you cannot control. You cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control what their commentary will be about your change or lack thereof. So why then would you spend any time shackling yourself? So if you want to live free of shame, understand that nobody else has the key to those shackles but you. And they're in your hand right now. This could be the last day you ever feel the pain of being shame shackled, where you're functioning, but you know it's not all of you. It's not the best of you. You don't have to live like that. There's a better way. And that's what hope will do. It's what passion will do, but only you can make that choice.
So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram. They check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. So now 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program.
Healthy arrogance is internal, not external.
Got it.
It is not about walking in and everybody going, oh, look at that Mel Robbins. Boy, does she think she's the shit.
I hope they don't say that.
That's not what it's about.
Okay.
What it's about is Mel Robbins walking into that room and feeling like, I've got an importance. I've got something. I got self-doubt because everybody has it.
Right.
I got that little doubt devil on my shoulder telling me what I'm not, what I can't be, what I don't have. Healthy arrogance is the angel.
Tell me how that angel talks, because
That
a lot of that angel's not very loud.
You know what that angel, that's what it is. We got to make it louder. That angel's going, go Mel, go Will, go. You got this. You can do it. Mel, I literally tell myself that you talk about affirmations. I'm the king of self-affirmation.
Let's hear it.
I look in the mirror every morning.
Yep.
And I do a Will Packer pep rally. I have my own little pep rally telling myself, you got this. You got this. You have the skills. You have what it takes. You're prepared for the day. You're prepared for whatever's going to come that you don't even know. You got it, Will. You're prepared for it. I do that for two reasons. One is because it's the last time I'm going to hear it today, right? Because we just don't walk around with a bunch of people, you know, unless you got a marching band following you around telling you how great you are. The second reason I do it is because my voice is the most important voice. Because I hear it from the most important person I need to hear it from. That is one of the ways that you can build that confidence muscle, even if you're not that person, because none of us are born thinking, oh, I'm great. I have what it takes to be successful. I deserve success. That's not something we're born with. You have to build it.
And if you keep that same emotional reaction going on for years on end, that's called a personality trait. And so learning how to shorten your refractory period of emotional reactions is really where the work starts. So then people, when they have an event, what they do is they keep recalling the event, because the emotions of stress hormones, the survival emotions, are saying pay attention to what happened because you want to be prepared if it happens again. Turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress. So they're always anticipating the worst case scenario based on a past experience. And they're literally, out of the infinite potentials in the quantum field, they're selecting the worst possible outcome, and they're beginning to emotionally embrace it with fear. And they're conditioning their body into a state of fear. Being in the unknown is a scary place for most people because the unknown is uncertain. And people say to me, well, I can't predict my future. I'm in the unknown, and I always say the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate in one day? The act of rehearsing them mentally, closing your eyes, and rehearsing the action.
If you were ever wondering if you're going to be proud of yourself again, I believe the answer is yes. And you have every opportunity to fill your life with new experiences and new change and new process to ensure that that happens. But you can be proud of yourself today because you didn't give up. So we can handle that right now. So if there's somebody out there going, I don't know, you don't know what I've been through, you don't know what I've done, I'm never going to be proud of myself again. You can be proud of yourself right now. You made it through. You're here. You made it. That's something to be acknowledged. I don't take it for granted. We've lost people in the blink of an eye. And if you do that enough, if you're experiencing that enough, you don't ever take life for granted. So the fact that you made it today is worthy of being proud. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for making it to this point. And it's okay to say that. Look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of myself. What did you achieve today? I achieved another day. I didn't give up. That's worthy. It's worthy of giving yourself some real significant esteem, because it matters. Sometimes that's the best you can do is survive that day. I've had a bunch of those, Mel. I was like, what's your big achievement today? Is that I didn't give up.
That's one of the most courageous things in the world to do when you feel like giving up.
The rehearsing the reaction of what you want, or the action?
The action of what you want. By closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing some action. If you're truly present, the brain does not know the difference between what you're imaging and what you're experiencing in 3D world. So then you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now, your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, priming it that way, the hardware becomes a software program. And who knows, you just may start acting like a happy person. And then I think the hardest part is to teach our body emotionally what the future will feel like ahead of the actual experience. So what does that mean? You can't wait for your success to feel empowered. You can't wait for your wealth to feel abundant. You can't wait for your new relationship to feel love, or your healing to feel whole. I mean, that's the old model of reality, of cause and effect, waiting for something outside of us.
So many times we say the front row people aren't coming. They're not going to support me. I'm not going to get the deal. Nobody's going to watch my video. The right people aren't going to watch it. I'm not going to create the content. You make yourself small because you think that the possibility of success feels so far away. But if you don't even open the door to that, now, as I sit here, Oprah Winfrey is a friend. She didn't come to my Chocolate City premiere, but I've got multiple shows on her network now. The reason that I sit where I sit is because I believed in myself enough to say, whether she comes or not, she should come. Because what I'm doing is important enough. And I acted like it was important enough. Because if I had just said, I got a little movie coming, I got a little premiere, come wear your jeans and t-shirts and check it out and let me know what you think, people would have come, right? But they wouldn't have felt it was important. Too many times we're making ourselves small and not forcing others to realize how important our dreams and our endeavors are. But it starts with you. They're not going to believe it if you don't. Why should I ever believe that what you're doing is important if you don't believe it?
The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. And now you're causing an effect. And I think that's the difference between living as a victim in your world, saying, I am this way because of this person or that thing or this experience. They made me think and feel this way.
Manifests itself in a way that you walk into a room differently, and people want to be around successful people. People want to be around people that believe in themselves, and you can be one of those people that other people then gravitate to. Changing your mentality will make people gravitate to you that you're not even thinking of.
If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past, and you will be predictable in your life. And if you wake up in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision in the future, as you see the same people and you go to the same places and you do the exact same thing at the exact same time, it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality. Now your personal reality is affecting or creating your personality. Your environment is really controlling how you think and feel unconsciously, because every person, everything, every place, every experience has a neurological network in your brain.
In Hollywood, we have a saying that how they feel at the end is how they felt about the movie, okay? What that means is that, and you've been there, right? You ever seen a movie and it's kind of slow and it's like, okay, I'm going to stick through it, but it's taking a long time to get there. And what is all this exposition and all this plot? But then at the end, something amazing happens and you go, oh, now I see why all that other stuff happened. And you call and tell all your friends like, yo, this movie is great. You got to see this. It's good. It's got a hook. It's got a thing. I don't want to tell you, you got to go see it, right? Because the third act, and movies are broken down by acts. The first act is what gets everybody's attention. That's why you come. It's starring so-and-so. It's about this. It's a rom-com. It's a horror. It's a comedy, right? That's the first act. The second act is when you get invested in the characters, right? That's when you get to learn the story. But the third act, that's when you bring it home. That's when you really determine whether or not you love that movie or not. Everybody in Hollywood knows that. The way you leave them feeling. So many of us are in our second, third, and even beyond acts, but we're judging ourselves on what we did in act one. That doesn't even matter, right? The third act, that's how you leave people feeling. That's the value that people are going to attribute to you, right? You can't judge Mel Robbins on the first act of her life. I know that. You're very open and honest about that. Same with Will Packer. So whether you're in the first, second, or even third act, it's not over. You got to remember, it's the way you end it. It is the way you leave people feeling about what your most recent accomplishments are. So it's never too late.
If you can sit your body down and tell it to stay like an animal, stay right here. I'm going to feed you when we're done. You can get up and check your emails. You can do all your texts. But right now, you're going to sit there and obey me. So then, when you do that properly, and you're not eating anything or smelling anything or tasting anything, you're not up experiencing and feeling anything, you would have to agree with me that you're being defined by a thought, right? So when the body wants to go back to its emotional past, and you become aware that your attention is on that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, you're siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the past, and you become aware of that. And you settle your body back down in the present moment, because it's saying, well, it's 8 o'clock. You normally get upset because you're in traffic around this time. And here you are sitting, and we're used to feeling anger, and you're off schedule. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, and you usually check your emails and judge everybody. Well, the body's looking for that predictable chemical state. Every time you become aware that you're doing that, and your body is craving those emotions, and you settle it back down into the present moment, you're telling the body, it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind. And now your will is getting greater than the program. And if you keep doing this over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, just like training a stallion or a dog, it's just going to say, I'm going to sit. And the moment that happens, when the body's no longer the mind, when it finally surrenders, there's a liberation of energy. We go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and we free ourselves from the chains of those emotions that keep us in the familiar past. And we've seen this thousands of times. In fact, we can actually predict it now on a brain scan. And I think one of my greatest realizations in my own journey was just because you have a thought doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So if you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and we do, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before, and you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, your life's not going to change very much, because the same thought leads to the same choice leads to the same behavior creates the same experience, and the same experience produces the same emotion.
And when you go through something like this, and if you do it what I think is the most healthy way, you focus on what's on your side of the tracks. So when you have a relational breakdown, it is extremely easy and convenient to look across the tracks. And it's not that there's not stuff there. The question is, what's best for you right now? So I had that choice of, am I going to look in the mirror or out the window when it comes to my friendships? In the mirror is, where's my role? Out the window is your role. And I stuck to this mirror, and thank God I did, because if I even glanced at the window, I thought I'd lose my mind. I was so hurt, so betrayed, even though I was the one who, broke the integrity of my life in some ways with my friends. And what a tragedy will sometimes do is give you, it's called it's tragedy amnesia, where it's like you only remember the part that suits your narrative right then. Everybody left me. Everybody did not leave me. In fact, amazing people helped me and more came. But when you're in it, you just see what hurts the most. So if you are in a spot just like that and you feel like everybody's abandoned you, I wonder if that's totally true. Not only do I think there's probably room for you to look around and maybe see there's other doors opening, you haven't abandoned you. And when you deal with relational breakdown, that's the most empowering thing to know. Even if, let's just say everybody did leave you, you still have you, and you're the only one that could control you, and you can't control anybody else. So there's hope there. So even if I did lose everybody, I'm still stuck with this broken man in the mirror. Let me work on this guy.
The more conscious you become of those unconscious states of mind and body, the less likely you're going to go unconscious during the day, and that thought is not going to slip by your awareness unchecked, because it means to know thyself. The word meditation means to become familiar with. So as you become familiar with the thoughts, the behaviors, and the emotions of the old self, you're retiring that old self. As you fire and wire new thoughts and condition the body into a new emotional state, if you do that enough times, it'll begin to become familiar to you.
If you're going to produce your life, you get to decide how it ends.
That's right.
In your book, you have this tool that you call healthy arrogance, but I don't want to be considered arrogant. So what do you mean by that?
Healthy arrogance is the feeling that you belong in any room that you're in, no matter who else is in that room, okay? Not to be confused with toxic arrogance, which says, when I walk into a room, I'm better than everybody, right? I'm a winner, you're a loser. I'm good, you're bad. That's not what we're talking about.
Yep.
What it is the belief that no matter who's in that room, you belong there because you have something that you're bringing. You have a confidence, because that's really what it is. Healthy arrogance is an outside confidence in the uniqueness of you. And the most successful people are confident, not loud. You don't have to walk into a room and announce it, but you got to know it. You got to know, I'm doing something and bringing something to this room that nobody else in here has. Nobody else in here can do the way that I do it. And so when you walk in with that level of confidence, now you also realize that this room, not only do you deserve to be there, but the room is better because you're in it. And then you start thinking about, how can I help to bring up the other people in this room to prove my worth and make the room better because of the thing that I do?
And so we have to unlearn before we relearn. We have to break the habit of the old self before we reinvent a new self. We have to prune synaptic connections and sprout new connections. We have to unfire and unwire and refire and rewire. We have to unmemorize emotions that are stored in the body, and then recondition the body to a new mind and to a new emotion, like deprogram and reprogram. That's the act, and it's a two-step process.
So lying, that's human. To live with it is destructive. And when you start compiling lies, then you start losing who you are. And then you start forgetting what's real. And then if you have a public life, you have to deal with the dichotomy and the duality of preaching to people about honesty while knowing.
When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease, because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well?
That it is possible to take the worst thing that's ever happened to you and spin that thing and start to take from it. So what I've taken from the season where I broke my wife's trust, where I broke my kids' trust, where I destroyed, rightfully so, the reputation that I worked hard to build, now I've taken from it peace, power, presence, margin, safety, honor, vulnerability, consistency. I didn't have some of those things before that. So now I look at that chapter and it's not what other people might deem it. You know, is that the hardest chapter in your life? Now it's like, of course, I carry it with reverence because there's pain and there's carnage, but it might be the most pivotal in my life.
I always had a dream of being like really successful, and I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how to define it. But there was nothing about me or my life or my upbringing that said to me that like that was in the cards for me. It just wasn't. And for me, it was like the possibility of success outweighed the fear of failure. And that's where I'm trying to pull people to and get them to see that like the fear of failure is real. I get it. I understand it. I know depression and anxiety is something that all of us at different levels have to deal with. For me, I have this outsized desire for success. The what if I'm successful is what I listen to and what drives me. And it's louder than the what if I fail.
The most important thing that I would tell anybody that I care about, which is you control your story, nobody else. Even if you've given away your pen and someone else has written some things, or maybe you don't even like what you've written in the past, you control this one here. What will you do with it? That is where your power is. You can do nothing about the chapters that are behind you, but you have so much opportunity to write the best chapters that are in front of you. The revelation is, I control my pen. I am the greatest narrator of my life. I will control the narrative and the commentary about who I am. People can make of it what they will, but I'm in control. So if you don't like the stories and the chapters that have preceded whatever you're dealing with right now, what a great day to maybe start that first sentence of what your new chapter is going to look like. You control that. Nobody else. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else can write it for you. People can encourage you, but at some point you've got to pick up the pen of ownership and say, this is me. This is my life. This is who I want to be. Who might you become if you invested in that person? It's an exciting proposition.
Too many times we're setting a goal and we're saying, if I don't accomplish that, or I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that, fabricate some momentum. Get it going, right? Get started. Do something you can accomplish, and then another thing, and then another thing. Before you know it, you've got a little momentum. It's another way to trick our brains into saying, you know what? I'm not in a cycle of failure. I'm in a cycle of positivity. All you did was buy some mountain climbing shoes or drive by that mountain 3 times, but you're on your way. You're closer than you were sitting at home going, I'll never be able to climb a mountain. You're a little bit closer. That's the key, whatever your mountain is. For me, it was literally going out and making a tiny little movie so that I could prove to myself I could make something.
And when you look at a situation that has robbed you, you're going to be faced with this, whether it's a trauma, maybe someone's hurt you, maybe someone's betrayed you, maybe somebody's let you down. That can be what they took stuff from you. Do you want to accept that? I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to accept that this chapter is going to take all this from me. I'm going to figure out a way to take some of that back and with some interest. If you're in that spot where maybe you're in the backside of it, where it's taking stuff from you, now you're sitting there holding the bag. Like, for instance, I was abused, sexually abused. That's something that can take from you.
The 6-pack mantra is, if you want to have what others won't, you got to be willing to do what others don't. And so with that movie, we drove our little tiny movie city to city to city to city. We drove and stayed in little Motel 6, Super 8 motel, where whoever would have us, and we would pass out flyers. We would pass out flyers at nightclubs. We'd pass out flyers in churches. We were in the South, so a lot of times it was the same people at the nightclub that were at the church the next morning, right? It didn't matter. We were hustling. Nobody else was doing that at that time. So that's why we had success they didn't have. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're going to have the same sphere of success that they have. So you got to be willing to step outside your comfort zone and step outside the comfort zone of other people.
Forever. If you make the choice to let it. Now, I'm able to take from that situation, you can rewire your brain pathways. You can sit down with anybody and say, I can relate to what it feels like to be betrayed on that level. You can do a whole curriculum on how to recover. You can be a support to people who have been through that otherwise, it's one thing to talk to somebody who's encouraging you that hadn't walked through it. It's a whole nother ballgame when you're sitting across from somebody that has understood what that feels like. So here's what I would say to you. If you haven't seen some of the fruit yet, keep watering and keep planting seeds. And you will look up at one point and you're going to see a garden of things that you didn't even dream was possible. A lot of people get tired when they're planting. So I'm not seeing it. I'm still broken and I'm still hurt and I'm still going backwards. I'm not sure that's even true. You're healing. You're better than you were yesterday. You're still here. You're listening to this. You're still trying. Those are seeds. And you plant enough seeds eventually, God is faithful to water. That's a fact. You cannot stop the rain from falling. Only question is, what have you put in the ground? And so when it came to my life, I looked at a desert basically. And I'm like, I got no choice but to just get busy planting. That's what I did. And now I'm starting to see some things blossom that, it makes me, it makes me well up with emotion of gratitude because I was just happy to survive. And I don't think that's God's will for anybody, to just survive. So if you've ever said that, if you ever said, I'm just happy just to make it through the day, that's okay. What if there's a day where you say, not only am I going to make it through this day, I'm going to crush this day. And I'm going to brighten up this day for somebody else. Like that's where you can go. So if it's dark right now, as sure as the sun will rise, there's a better day coming. And that's a fact. It's just as true as you sitting in that moment going, everything's been taken.
And the question itself is a challenge. It is a challenge to yourself because you're not asking someone else, tell me, do I deserve it? Tell me, am I important enough? Tell me, have I impressed you? No. You're asking the most important person to give that answer. You're asking yourself, who's better than me? You're challenging yourself to name somebody else that deserves it more than you. And then once you realize that you deserve success, the most successful people I've been around, it's not that they're just so amazing. It's not that they have some talent that you or I or the person watching us don't have. What they have is this mentality that they deserve success. That's the key.
Your problems don't go anywhere. You either fix them or they destroy you. And the only difference sometimes is what your life will look like when they crack. So it's like a fracture. And I don't know if you've ever spoken to an athlete that has a fracture. You can play on a fracture for a while and even function pretty good. But other parts of your body start to overcompensate for what you should have fixed. So if you fracture your ankle, there's a guy who might gut it out for a year, maybe two, put some Toradol in it, numb it out. And he might get through a couple games. It's the next year. It's the year after. His career shortened because he played through a fracture. And it's easy to lie. It's not easy to live with lies. If you don't think you have any fractures, okay. If you have something in your life that you're afraid to bring out, that's the thing that's going to kill you. So bring it out. What's the thing you don't want to share? That's where your power is. So whatever you're hiding is taking the place of what could be power. So you might want to bring it out. So sometimes your strength can be the greatest cover for what you need help with in the secret places of your life. If you are digging a hole for yourself right now, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. Put the shovel down. Because what we do is just like, well, this is going to go really bad. Let me just keep digging. Put the shovel down. That's what I always tell people. I'm in a bad spot. What should I do? What's the first thing you should do? Stop digging. Just stop. And then put your hand up and tell somebody you've been digging. and allow them to pull you out of this thing you have created for yourself. If you've ever had one of those nights where you never think you're going to get out of it, maybe you're even in that season right now, just do not give up. That's one thing I can say about my wife and myself that I am proud of, is that we didn't give up. A lot of people stop right there. And somehow, by the grace of God, we found the fortitude to keep trying to figure this out. And but it was those are some tough memories to pull up, but they matter.
So most people then wait for crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis. They wait for loss, some tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait? And you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. And I think right now, the cool thing is that people are waking up.
Deserve success, and that it's coming. Because a lot of times, and I've been there, you think, I haven't been successful to this point. I don't know if it's coming. It didn't come today. It didn't come yesterday. It might not come tomorrow. The most successful people feel like it's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming. You can't let go of that. You gotta believe it's coming. Success is coming.
Here's how you know somebody has forgiven themselves. They start to invest in the new version of who they are now. That's how you know. So if you are struggling to forgive yourself, number one, let's make that leap. I forgive myself. If you do that, the only way you can prove that is by investing in this new, better version of who you're becoming. And that's the evidence on the board. So when people struggle to do that, you know it, because there's so much about what they were and what they didn't want to be. There's no evidence of who they are now. So if you look at me, I hope you know I've forgiven myself, because there's no way you can walk around with bright eyes in any sort of confidence, knowing the wreckage of my life. Yeah, no, it's not that I don't know that. A lot of people get thrown off by that because they want you to be sad. They want you to be broken. And that says more about them than it does you anyway. But for me, it's like I've forgiven myself. And how can you even show your face in public? Well, I forgave myself. God forgave me. My wife forgave me. My kids forgave me. I forgave myself. That's how. What would you like me to do? Think about what shame does. Shame is the opposite of your chest out. Shame is your shoulders down and your head down. Even the body language of shame is demeaning. And I just don't have time for that. Here's something to accept today if you don't see a lot of growth. I accept that I'm playing the long game. And in time, I will reap a harvest if I keep planting the things I know I need to plant. Like, I've never seen a farmer plant something and go out there the next day and be like, damn it.
Well, it turns out if you allow that emotional reaction, it's called a refractory period, to last for hours or days, that's called a mood. I say to someone, hey, well, what's up? You say, I'm in a mood. Well, why are you in a mood? Well, I had this thing happen to me 5 days ago, and I'm having one long emotional reaction. If you keep that same emotional reaction going on for weeks or months, that's called temperament.
We live in a world that starts to eat away at the identity of what might be inside us. Hear it today. You are far more valuable than you know. There is so much to come in your life that will even shock you. But today, maybe it's just enough to be able to consider, what if I'm right? What if you are valuable? What if this world wouldn't be the same without you? What if your contribution can be something that brings light to so many people? You're valuable. So if you haven't heard that today, hear it today. If you haven't thought that in a while, think it today. I am valuable because you are. And it's hard to stop somebody who knows that they're valuable.
It showed me, because I was like, you know what? I didn't make it the way I wanted to make it. I didn't have the big budget. I didn't have the big stars, but I made something. I did something.
You guys have heard of a shoe called Nike, but there was one person who was so deep that they didn't call them Nikes, they called them what? Air Jordans. All right? He took their name away from them, and you start looking at the shoe as Jordans. You no longer identify them as Nikes because he took the brand hostage. He took the brand hostage, and he had people dropping out of school, right? Standing in a line, not going to school so they can be the first ones to get the Jordans. His shoes cost $185. He took over. I'm not saying it's right economically what he's doing in the black community, but the bottom line is he became the brand of the NBA. So when you look at the NBA now, you look at Michael Jordan. And that's critical because you need to understand you're a brand. So I just want to encourage you guys, you playing. You're spending a lot of money to be here and you playing games. Some of you have D's in your class, C minuses, you playing. But I told you, for many of you, this is your last opportunity. And you're not like a lot of other kids who, if they don't do well, mama got enough money to send them somewhere else. Most of you're gonna go to selling dope, or you're gonna be working at McDonald's or working at Walmart. A lot of you don't have another chance outside of Michigan State. And you're trying to make everybody else think you big time, but you know if you go home, you're not going home to what your apartment looks like or what your dorm looks like. Now you put on in here, but when you go back home, you know back at home, there's some roaches running around. Let's keep it real. Some of y'all know when you go home and you walk into your front door and you go in your neighborhood don't look like East Lansing. Right? And you might wear fresh gear here, but you know back at home, the couch set and the carpet don't look like the carpet look in some of the colleges that you're in. You know that. And so you got an opportunity here, take your mama from where she living, or your daddy, or your sisters, or your brothers out of that neighborhood they're in, and take them to a better neighborhood, and you're playing. So this is the time. Get your resume together, get your academics together, brand yourself, and I think we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. So me and Coach was talking, right? And I ain't proud of it, but I just like to keep it 100. I'm a high school dropout. I ain't proud of it. I dropped out of my senior year in high school. And I'm just keep it real, because I was dumb. It was because I left home at an early age, and I don't have no other way to say it. Coaches, forgive me, but my boys was on the block. So while I'm in school from 8 to 3, they getting it in. So they picking me up in Mustang 5.0. They picking me up in the Jeep, top off, and the sound, no seat. They didn't blew the back seat out, no back seat out. They just got the 8 and 10 in the back of the booth. And I'm coming out of class, getting in the car. They coming right up to Henry Ford. I'm from Detroit, 8 Mile. They coming right up, grabbing me. E-Ray, I'm getting the ride. Like, why am I still going to school? They're like, why are you getting F's and D's? Like, why are you still going to school? So I dropped out of school. But guess what? You know why it was so easy for me to drop out of school? Because my father dropped out of school. My father had 5 kids by 5 different women. And why was it easy for him to drop out? Because my grandfather dropped out of school. But I did something unique. I went and got my GED, got my 4-year degree, got my master's degree, and I'm a dissertation away from my PhD, and I hate school. So somebody said, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I figure if I get a PhD, I'm gonna create something in my family, and my son gonna have to at least graduate from what? Come on, 100, come on. If your daddy got a PhD, you can at least do what? You can at least graduate from high school. And let me tell you something, I told my son, I ain't trying to put no pressure on you, but it's been 60 years since a male in our family has graduated from high school. Son, I'm gonna need you to take your senior year serious. We got a lot riding on you, and I'm telling you, greatness is here, but it ain't on Cam's shoulders no more. It ain't on Farley's shoulder no more. It ain't on Bo Jackson's shoulder no more. Now greatness is on whose shoulder? That's why I wake up every morning at 2 o'clock, 2:30, because I got my mama counting on me. I got my sister counting on me. I got my son and my daughter counting on me. I got a world that gets up every morning and watches me. I got little kids who don't believe that they can do it. When they saw me, they thought now they can do it. So I get up every morning at 2:30, 3 o'clock. Why? Because greatness is upon me. Dr. King is dead. Malcolm X is dead. I'm that new guy. I'm that new inspiration. I'm the guy you look at when your daddy ain't in your life, when your daddy in prison. I'm that guy that comes to your high school and tell you, you can make it happen. Greatness is upon you. You better act like it.
You wake up every day, but how many of those days are you actually awake? Most people move through life like shadows. Eyes open, hearts closed. Dreams buried under excuses. And yet, there's a voice inside you. The one that won't stay quiet. The one that says, there is more. You know it. You feel it every time you look in the mirror. That tension between the person you are and the person you could be. Let's be real. The gap isn't closed by luck. It's not closed by waiting for the right time. It's closed by courage, by action, by fire. The truth? Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you anything. The world doesn't pause just because you're tired. You've been given a life, a chance, a body that can move, a mind that can think, a heart that can burn. What are you doing with it? Every excuse you've made, someone else had it harder and still rose above it. Every fear you've clung to, someone else carried that fear and still walked through it. So let me ask you, how long will you wait? How long will you stand in the doorway looking out at the life you could live, but never stepping into it? This is the moment. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Your power lives in the present. Your chance to transform is here, is today. It's time to stop running from your reflection. It's time to meet the version of yourself that doesn't back down, that doesn't fold, that doesn't break. You already have the strength. You just haven't demanded it. You already have the fire. You just haven't fed it. So feed it. Fan the flames. Rise. This is your life. This is your shot. No one else can live it for you. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, at full volume, at full strength, at full heart. So let's begin.
Struggle. That word makes most people flinch. We treat it like a curse, like something to avoid. But struggle is not the enemy. It's the proof you're in motion. It's the evidence you're climbing, not standing still. No one builds strength in comfort. No one becomes unshakable in ease. We're told to chase convenience, quick results, easy wins. But easy never transforms you. It only keeps you where you are. Growth comes when life presses down on you and you refuse to fold. The ground gets heavy. The path gets steep. Your chest burns. Your legs shake. And still, you take the next step. That's the process. That's the forging. Struggle isn't here to break you. It's here to introduce you to yourself. Because you don't find out who you are when everything is smooth. You find out in the storm. When it feels like you can't take another hit. When you're on the edge of quitting. That moment, that's the birthplace of a stronger you. And yes, you might fall. Yes, you might stumble. But falling doesn't mean you're done. It means you're human. And standing back up is what makes you unshakable. The mistake is thinking pain means stop. Pain means progress. It's the signal you're breaking limits, that you've stepped into territory most people never enter. But struggle only transforms you if you stay with it, if you keep showing up even when it hurts. Too many people turn away just before the breakthrough, just before the moment where persistence would have turned to power. Don't let that be you. Not this time. Decide that when struggle presses on you, you will push back harder. You will not retreat. You will not surrender. Because when the storm passes, what's left is not weakness. What's left is resilience. Fire in your chest, steel in your spine. A version of you that no easy road could ever create.
At some point, you have to stop pointing fingers. Stop blaming the world, stop blaming your past, stop blaming everyone else for where you are. The truth is harsh, but it's also freeing. Your life is in your hands, not theirs, yours. Excuses feel safe. They protect you from guilt. They give you a story to tell, but they also chain you to the same place. As long as it's someone else's fault, you never have to change. And if you never change, you never rise. You can blame your childhood. You can blame the system. You can blame luck, timing, opportunity, and maybe you're right. Maybe life has been unfair. Maybe the deck has been stacked against you. But here's the question. Does blaming it change it? Does pointing at the world lift you out of the mud? Does waiting for fairness build the future you want? No. The moment everything changes is the moment you say, "It's on me." Not because it's all your fault, but because it's your fight, your life, your responsibility. That's the turning point. When you stop waiting for rescue and become your own rescue. When you stop hoping for a handout and start building with your own two hands. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Try me." That shift, that ownership, it's where real power lives. Because once you own it, you can change it. Once you claim it, you can shape it. But as long as you give away control, you give away your future. So ask yourself, where have you been pointing the finger? Where have you been waiting for someone else to fix it? Stop waiting. Start owning. This is your life, your choices, your habits, your victories, your failures, all of it. Own it all, and you'll find out you've been holding the keys the whole time. No more blame, no more excuses. From this point forward, everything is on you, and that's the greatest freedom you'll ever have.
Fear. That four-letter word that rules so many lives. It whispers in your ear. What if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not enough? And for most people, that whisper is enough to keep them stuck where they are. Frozen, silent, unmoved. But here's the truth about fear. It never leaves. You don't outgrow it. You don't escape it. You don't wait until you feel fearless. You move anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is fear harnessed. Courage is walking into the unknown with your heart pounding and your hands shaking and your mind screaming no and still taking the step. That's courage. And every time you choose courage over comfort, you get stronger. Not because the fear disappears, but because you stop letting it decide for you. Fear says, stay safe. Courage says, take the risk. Fear says, stay silent. Courage says, speak your truth. Fear says, wait until you're ready. Courage says, go now. Think about how much of your life fear has already stolen. Opportunities you never grabbed, conversations you never had, dreams you never chased, all because fear convinced you to stand still. But fear isn't proof that you're weak. It's proof that you're human. And it's also proof you're on the edge of growth. Because the things that scare you most, they're usually the exact things you need to do. That business you want to start, that leap you want to take, that version of yourself you know is inside you, all of it waits just past fear. So here's the choice. Will you keep letting fear own your life? Or will you walk through it? And understand this, the fear will scream, it will fight back. But when you step forward anyway, fear loses its grip. You don't eliminate it, you dominate it. That's how courage is built. So the next time fear rises up, don't wait for it to vanish. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Step. Even if your voice shakes, even if your legs tremble, even if your mind doubts, step. Because the person who acts through fear becomes unstoppable. The person who chooses courage unlocks a life most will never touch. Fear is loud, but courage is louder if you let it speak through you. And once you taste that courage, once you step into it again and again, you realize something powerful. Fear was never the prison. You were, and you've had the key the whole time. So turn it, open the door, and walk into the life waiting for you.
Everyone wants success. Everyone wants to rise. Everyone wants the dream. But not everyone is willing to pay the price. Because greatness always demands sacrifice. And that word, sacrifice, it's the dividing line. It means giving up comfort for growth, trading easy pleasures for lasting purpose, choosing the long road when shortcuts scream your name. Sacrifice is not glamorous. It doesn't post well on social media. It doesn't come with instant applause. It's the quiet hours no one sees. It's the battles fought in silence. And if you're not willing to give something up, you'll never hold something greater. The truth is simple. You can't have it all. Not if you want to rise. You can't cling to excuses and reach your potential. You can't hold comfort and growth in the same hand. You will have to choose. The stronger version of you, the one you dream about becoming, that person demands a price. Maybe it's hours of work while others sleep. Maybe it's discipline when others indulge. Maybe it's walking alone while others stay together. But here's the beauty of sacrifice. It compounds. Every small decision to let go of comfort becomes an investment in who you're becoming. Every act of sacrifice lays another brick in your foundation. And paired with consistency, that foundation becomes unshakable. Because consistency is the twin of sacrifice. One without the other collapses. Sacrifice is giving up what you want now. Consistency is repeating that choice tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Anyone can sacrifice once. Few can do it daily. That's why few are great. Consistency is not exciting. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's the slow grind of repetition. The daily showing up. The unbroken chain of effort. And here's what most people miss. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You'll slip, you'll stumble, but consistency means you don't stay down. You reset, you return, you keep showing up. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary. Not in one giant leap, but in thousands of steady steps. Sacrifice fuels the climb. Consistency keeps you moving when the mountain feels endless. And one day, when you look back, when you see how far you've come, you'll realize something powerful. It wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was the sacrifices you made and the consistency that kept you going. That's the blueprint. That's the formula. sacrifice, and consistency. Without them, the dream stays a dream. With them, it becomes reality.
You can work hard. You can grind every day. You can push your body, your mind, your spirit to the edge. But if you don't know why you're doing it, eventually you'll break. Purpose is the fuel. Vision is the map. Without them, effort feels empty. Without them, the journey feels endless. That's why so many people quit. It's not because they're weak. It's because they've been climbing without a summit, running without a finish line. You need something greater than yourself, something that makes the pain worth it, something that makes the struggle meaningful. So ask yourself, what do you want your life to stand for? Not the shallow version, not the surface level answers, the real truth. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What story do you want your children, your friends, your world to tell when they speak your name? That's purpose. That's vision. And it doesn't come from looking at what everyone else is doing. It doesn't come from copying the trends of the moment. It comes from silence, from digging deep, from facing yourself honestly and asking, what burns inside me that I cannot ignore? When you find that, it becomes your compass. It becomes the thing that pulls you out of bed when every part of you wants to stay down. Because when you know your why, you can endure almost anyhow. Vision keeps you steady when the world shakes. Purpose keeps you moving when the ground crumbles. Without it, discipline feels like prison. With it, discipline feels like freedom. Without it, sacrifice feels like loss. With it, sacrifice feels like investment. Purpose changes everything. And here's the truth. Your vision doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to change the entire world. It just has to matter deeply to you. Maybe your vision is building a better life for your family. Maybe it's breaking cycles that held generations before you. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you were always capable of more. Whatever it is, own it, protect it, fight for it. Because when you lose sight of your vision, you lose your power. But when you live in alignment with it, you become unstoppable. So don't just ask, what do I want? Ask, why do I want it? Don't just ask, what can I get? Ask, who can I become? That's the shift. That's the anchor. Vision and purpose. The fire in your chest. The light on the horizon. Hold on to them, and they'll carry you through any darkness.
There comes a moment when comfort becomes the most dangerous thing in your life, because comfort whispers, "This is good enough. Why push harder? Why reach higher?" And the moment you start listening, the moment you start settling, that's the moment you stop growing. Settling is slow death. It's the quiet erosion of your potential. It's living beneath your own power. You were not born to settle. You were not built to just get by. You were designed to rise, to stretch, to expand beyond every limit placed on you. But settling feels safe. It feels easy. It feels like relief. And yet, it's the greatest trap. Because while you sit in safety, your dreams rot in the corner. Your fire burns out. Your spirit grows restless. Think about it. How many people you know once had a dream, once had a fire, once had ambition, but they chose the easy route. They settled. Now they walk through life half awake. And every now and then, when silence creeps in, they feel it, that ache inside, that knowing that they left something behind. Don't let that be your story. You are capable of more than you can see right now, more than the world has told you, more than your doubts will admit. But you'll never touch it if you keep accepting good enough. Good enough is the enemy of greatness, and greatness only belongs to the ones who demand more. Demand more from yourself, from your body, from your mind, from your heart. Push the standard higher, and when you reach it, raise it again. Because the moment you stop chasing growth, you start shrinking. There is no standing still. You're either rising or you're fading. And the ones who refuse to settle, they're the ones who rewrite the rules. They're the ones who shock the world. They're the ones who look back one day and say, I gave it everything. So choose now. Will you be another name lost in the crowd? Or will you be the one who breaks through? The one who never lowered the bar? The one who never let fear, comfort, or excuses hold them down? The one who demanded more, always? Because when you live that way, you don't just survive. You expand. You inspire. You awaken others. Never settle. Not in your goals, not in your effort, not in the life you're building. Raise the standard. Keep climbing. Keep pushing. Keep rising. Because the second you decide enough is enough, that's when your story truly begins.
This is it. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop wishing, the moment you decide. For too long, you've carried limits that weren't yours. For too long, you've listened to fear. For too long, you've played small. That ends now. This is your life, your fight, your battlefield. No one is going to hand you greatness. No one is going to deliver purpose to your doorstep. You've got to claim it. You've got to bleed for it. You got to rise for it. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, there will be days you question if it's worth it. But hear me, it is. Because what's the alternative? A life half-lived? A story unfinished? A soul that always wonders what could have been? No! You were not put here to waste away in mediocrity. You were not put here to settle, to shrink, to vanish quietly. You were put here to fight, to burn, to rise. So rise. Rise when it's dark. Rise when it's heavy. Rise when no one believes in you. Rise when even you doubt yourself. Rise anyway. Every step forward is a victory. Every breath in the fight is proof you are alive. And as long as you are alive, there is more inside you to give. So give it, all of it. Empty yourself into this life. Hold nothing back. Chase the vision until your legs give out. Carry the fire until your last breath. Because one day, the clock will stop. One day, the fight will be over. And when that day comes, you won't fear it if you've given everything. You'll meet the end with pride. You'll stand before the world, before yourself, and know you lived fully. You rose every time you fell. You burned with purpose. That is victory. That is greatness. That is a life. So this is the call, your call. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop holding back. Step forward, stand tall, fight with everything you've got. The world doesn't need another shadow. It needs you at your strongest, your boldest, your most alive. So rise, warrior. Rise, builder. Rise, dreamer. The time is now. The fight is here. And you are ready. Now go and live it.